Guys, how are we doing? And welcome back to another video. This is the Fighters Forecast. It is your boy Tenant speaking, and we are here to break down UFC Fight Night Ankalaev versus Guskov. This fight card is in Abu Dhabi. There's some absolute specimens making their debut on this card that nobody's even heard of before, including myself. I had to go do some tape study on these guys out in the regional scene. A bunch of prospects making their debuts. A lot of these fights are pretty favorite heavy, to be honest. Like if you go look at the odds book, it's going to be like minus 400, minus 500, minus 800, because all these guys are being set up to win. So it's not going to be a lot of spots here with value. Who's our fucking sponsor? CIBC. Get personalized advice for your ambitions. Fuck off. Fuck out of here. You're going to close? Gosh. Yo, is CIBC trolling right now? What's happening? Man, fuck you. Now we got RBC. What are we doing here? No, I don't want your shit, man. Gosh. Anyways, before I got rudely interrupted by fucking Banks, there's a lot of prospects on these card, guys, that are supposed to make their debut and they're supposed to win. So it's a very favorite heavy card. Lots of like spots where you're like, fuck, do I want to pay minus 400? There's a lot of good parlay pieces as well. Lots of 6-man parlays, 7-man parlays that I think are good with no sweat here. But this is Magomed Ankalaev versus Bogdan Guskov. This is the fight card in Abu Dhabi this weekend. Fight start at 9 a.m. It's a little bit of a different time for us here in Canada, where at least where I'm from in Canada. But we're here to break down this card, guys. We always start from the bottom to the top. We're gonna get cooking. I mean, last week we didn't have a great time. We didn't have great success predicting the card. We got a couple fights wrong, more than normal, to be honest. We want to bounce back, but of course, the hammer of the week has hit 3 times in a row, and we're here to make it 4. But before we get to that video, this is the full card breakdown, and I will start with the first fight of the night. Cody Gibson versus Abdul Hussein. First of all, we got Cody Gibson versus Abdul Hussein. Cody Gibson, I'll talk about first. This guy is a vet. He is old. He's got a lot of fights in his career here. So it's a nice savvy vet that Abdul Hussein is debuting against. Cody Gibson has decent striking, decent grappling, but nothing good. He's only beaten Chad and Kelliger. The guy's not very good. He's very chinny. He is long and he is tall for this division. That's the only thing that might give Abdul Hussein problems here. But Abdul Hussein is an absolute monster. I've done tape study on this guy, and I was not aware of this guy before this card got announced. I did some tape study. He's got bombs in his hands. He's got great wrestling entries and takedowns. The only problem in this fight, in my opinion, is that Abdul Hussein may be too small for Cody Gibson, because Cody Gibson, I think he's 5'9", and Abdul Hussein's 5'6". Something along those lines. Is going to be definitely a height discrepancy in this matchup, but that is literally the only thing that worries me in this matchup. Hussein's the better striker, he's a better wrestler, he's better with the jits, and he's got good cardio. This guy, I think, is a real prospect out of Finland, it says. I don't know if that guy's fucking from Finland, but you get the point. Abdul Hussein should run through Cody Gibson, and he should beat him by finish. I'm going to go with a KO, but, if he subs him, I won't be surprised. I got Abdul Hussein in the first fight of the night. Next fight, we have Narulo Aliev versus Mike Davis. This, ladies and gentlemen, is called a trap fight. You may look at Narulo Aliev, a shiny 11-0 record. You may think this guy's an absolute killer, but he's not. Narulo Aliev goes in there and he tries to, he just does enough to get the round off you. You know what I mean? Which is good in retrospect, because it's like, yeah, I put it right into the judge's mind. That's my fucking round. You're not giving it to the other guy, which he does brilliantly. He always ends the round positively as well. Doesn't matter how tired he is or what he's doing. He's doing something to come forward in the fight to make it look good on the judges' scorecards. He is not dangerous at all, in my opinion. And he's fighting Mike Davis here, a guy who's got powerful striking and good jiu-jitsu here. Mike Davis, he's a little bit older now. I don't know if the quickness and the speed is going to be there. Are the wrestling defenses going to be enough here for Narulo Aliev, because he shoots nice takedowns in Narulo Aliev? Mike Davis, in my opinion here, I think he can have success. I think he can shock Nurullo Aliev here, and really bring the fight to him, man. If I have to make a pick, which I don't want to, I'm gonna go Nurullo Aliev, but I am not betting this fight whatsoever. This is an absolute trap matchup here. I think Mike Davis can win this matchup, but I think Nurullo Aliev's wrestling and grappling is going to be too much here. I think he's going to clinch him against the fence. He's going to take him down. He's going to rinse and repeat. He's got good cardio, and he's going to be on display for all 15 minutes. I have Nurullo Aliev by decision. Next fight, we have Brandon Ribeiro versus Magomed Tuchalov. This is one of the guys here who are being set up to win. Magomed Tuchalov throws with absolute just intent. The guy will be there to try and take your head off. He's got absolutely nasty knees and just humongous power in the hands, especially in the 1-2s, and that left hook of Magomed Tuchalov is the shot to look out for. But Benison Ribeiro is good on the feet. People may look at this record and go 17-10, this guy's fucking trash, which he is trash, but not really on the feet. Benison Ribeiro has good hands. He's got good kicks as well. But once this fight gets to the ground is the real problem here. Benson Ribeiro has zero ground game whatsoever. And Magomed Tuchalov has good wrestling and good jiu-jitsu. And in my opinion, I think this is a great spot to take Magomed Tuchalov by submission in this matchup. I got Tuchalov here. He is being set up to win. He is from Abu Dhabi. The fight takes place in Abu Dhabi. Magomed Tuchalov should be an obvious spot here. Next fight, this could be a banger of the night in my opinion. You know, a fight of the night. This is Ismail Bonfim against Axel Sola. Both these guys are there to fight, but one guy is a pussy. And you may look at the screen and be like, I know the pussy is just the French guy, because French people are a bunch of pussy-ass bitches. And you know what? That assumption is correct, but not here. Axel Sola is the only French fighter I will not call a pussy, because this guy against Mason Jones in his last fight, he took it to Mason Jones. He was there swinging. He was in his face. He was throwing 1-2s. He kept throwing with the volume, with the heat to try and take out Mason Jones. But you're not out-dogging a guy from the Wales. You're just not. It doesn't matter who you are. If you don't know who Mason Jones is, he's an absolute junkyard dog. He does not care if he gets hit over the head with an absolute shovel or an anvil or a hammer or anything. That guy will come forward no matter what. And Axel Sola really gained my respect in that matchup. The guy did not quit until Mason Jones, got him out of there. But, Axel Sola came forward. He threw with intent. He's got great boxing combinations and good wrestling here. And that's going to be enough to beat Ismail Bonfim. Bonfim's more of a jiu-jitsu guy. He's got decent striking. But once you crack Ismail Bonfim, there is no way back. This guy is a quitter. He is a pussy. And we are going to take Axel Sola by KO in this matchup because Ismail Bonfim just crumbles and he gives up. Next fight on the card, it's going to be Santiago Ponzinibbio against Sam Patterson. Ponzinibbio is here to be a sacrificial lamb, in my opinion, and I don't like Sam Patterson, to be honest. I don't think the guy's that good in the welterweight division. Santiago Ponzinibbio is about 40 years old. The guy is just washed up. He is slow now. Just not really a great fighter anymore. The only thing he has going for him is a good 1-2 down the pipe. That is pretty much it. He's slower than Patterson. He's got worse grappling than Patterson. And Patterson is probably better on the feet. This is Sam Patterson by submission all day, in my opinion. I have him going in there, getting the takedowns whenever he wants. I think he'll strike with him a little bit, and then he'll grab the takedown and get the submission. But I am going Sam Patterson in this matchup. Next fight, we have Dustin Jacoby against Muhammad Saidov. It may say Muhammad Saeed, but it's not. It's Saidov. He is Russian, but he represents Abu Dhabi. Dustin Jacoby is a junkyard dog, and you may hear that term a couple times in this video, guys, but Dustin Jacoby will fight for your money, and what I mean by that is this guy will be there for all 3 rounds and will try and take his opponent's head off. It doesn't matter if he's getting outclassed. You cannot say Dustin Jacoby does not have a chance in the fight, because if you remember that Vitor Petrino fight, he was down 2 rounds to nothing in the 3rd round. He came with a monstrous right hook or left hook, I don't know which one it was, and he took the lights out of Vitor Petrino after getting destroyed in the first 2 rounds, to be honest. But he's fighting Muhammad Saeed here, a guy who is good everywhere, in my opinion. A guy who has good takedowns, who has good grappling, and has really, really good striking here. This could really be a banger of the night, a fight of the night in Dustin Jacoby versus Muhammad Saeed. They could be striking. They are very close in striking, in my opinion. You may go, well, Dustin Jacoby's a glory kickboxer. I understand that is true, but Dustin Jacoby is 38 years old, and he's fighting a guy who is from the hometown of Abu Dhabi. And you guys always got to be wary of the judges in these fights for the hometown guys, especially out there in Abu Dhabi, in Russia, places like that. Mohamed Saeed throws good combinations. I like his combination game. He has a nice 1-2-3, and he finishes off with a leg kick, which I do like in this matchup here. But it's actually a really hard fight to predict. It's also going to be a trap fight, in my opinion. This is a hard guy to make your 205 debut against, in my opinion, in Dustin Jacoby. But I wouldn't be surprised if Mohamed Saeed wins because he should be faster. He should have the better combinations. But he won't be able to get Dustin Jacoby to the ground, and we don't know the gas tank of Muhammad Saidov in this matchup here. So if this goes past the first round, it's Dustin Jacoby all the way from there, in my opinion. But in the first round, Muhammad Saidov is going to be absolutely dangerous, and you need to watch out for him. I'm going to pick Dustin Jacoby, but I am not betting on this fight. Next one, we have Walter the Clean Monster Walker against Thomas Peterson. Guys, we have a saying here. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Walter Walker has 4 or 5 wins in a row via heel hook submission. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a leg lock submission on the heel, on the ankle area, and he just tries to break your leg. And he's got a tap in 4 fights in a row. And if it's not broke, don't fix it. Guys, we've been on Walter Walker by submission 3 fights in a row now. And he keeps cashing us, always in the first round. He has some weird leg rolls and Imanari rolls to get to his opponent's legs. And once he is there, the fight is over. This guy is called the heel hook specialist for a reason. He wears the chain with the cut off foot on his neck. It's hard as fuck, to be honest. And against a guy like Thomas Peterson here, definitely one of the better opponents he's fought. But he's still in the lower echelon of the heavyweight division, guys. Thomas Peterson has decent wrestling, so the takedowns may not be there, but this is where I pivot to the Imanari rolls from Walter Walker. The rolls to get down to the legs from Walter Walker can be there, in my opinion. And if it's there, Walter Walker is going to sub this guy. But Walter Walker is not going to get a real takedown on Thomas Peterson, in my opinion. And if Walter Walker cannot get the submission in the first round, he's in for a long, long night because Thomas Peterson has cardio. He's got a nice 1-2 down the pipe, and he's a big boy. And we saw Walter Walker in his debut. The guy looked like a piece of shit. Lost to Lucas Bresky, the absolute bum clown shoe pussy, Lucas Bresky, who is now cut from the UFC. I'm not going to overcomplicate this. I'm going Walter Walker by submission here. But if it gets outside the first round, or you're seeing Walter Walker slow down live on television, do me a favor. Go in that fucking book and you place a live bet on Thomas Peterson because I can almost guarantee you I do not believe Walter Walker will get a sub in the second or third round. It's Walter Walker round 1 submission, in my opinion. Next fight, just go ahead and turn off the TV. It's a bunch of boring-ass motherfuckers. We got Abubakar Vagayev against Saigig Ismagiayev. Like, what the fuck are these names? What are we talking about? Saigig Mayev. Like, bro. We're going to call him Saigig because I did not want to say that again. Abubakar Vagayev is a guy, very boring. I believe he has 19 decision victories here. The guy's not very fun. He throws a nice 1-2. He actually has a nice boxing combination, in my opinion, but he's not dangerous. He does not like to go for the kill here. And against Saigig, who just gassed against Nicholas Dalby in his last matchup here, this is going to be a very boring back and forth fight. You may go, what the fuck do you mean very boring back and forth? That doesn't make any sense. Well, one guy's going to do this the whole time, and one guy's going to try and clinch and hold him against the fence the whole time. It's going to be one of the most boring stuff ever, but Vagayev has the takedown defense to survive Saigig in this matchup here. I think Abubakar is better on the feet for sure, and they have similar wrestling and grappling, so I'm going to go Abubakar Vagayev by decision here. Not confident in this fight at all. Both these guys are making their debuts. Saigig's already made his debut, but it was terrible. And then we have Abubakar fighting absolute can-crushed bums on the regional scene, making his debut. Do not touch this fight, guys. I don't even know what the odds are. And that's for good reason, because both these guys, nobody has any clue. Let's be honest here. But I'm going to go Bubakar Vagayev by decision here. I think he's more complete. Next fight, we have Rizvan Kunayev against Tyrell Fortune. This is actually going to be a good fight in my opinion. I think both these guys are actually pretty good in the heavyweight division. They are probably the double digit rank numbers in my opinion here. Rizvan Kunayev coming off that win against Jalton Almeida, defended all the takedowns, beat him with the hands. That's why Jalton got cut, because he's boring as shit. But Ruslan Kanaev has that nice gut on him. You know what I mean? The guy got popped for steroids a couple years ago, but he came back. He looked pretty good in his last matchup against Jaltsin, and I like him here in this spot against Tyrell Fortune. Because Tyrell Fortune was kind of hyped coming to the UFC to fight, what was his name? Marcin Tybura. Tybura sucks. Let's not be honest. Let's be honest here, guys. Tybura is poop. And I think Tyrell Fortune should have knocked that guy out, which he didn't, which was kind of, concerning to me, in my opinion. Um, in my opinion here, Tyler Fortune has the slightly better hands here in this matchup. Kanaev has nice bows, though, in the clinch. He can get you on the fence, he can clinch, and his takedowns are very good as well. So, if I got to make a pick here, I'm going to go Rizvan Kunaev in this match. I believe he can clinch him against the fence. He is the hometown guy. He can get him down to the ground and nullify the hands of Tyrell Fortune. Give me Rizvan Kunaev in this matchup. Next fight, we have the debut of my number one prospect from the Dana White Contender Series last year. It is Magomed Zainukov, aka Chanko, aka John Pork. And if you guys have been living under a rock, that is what Islam Makhachev introduced him to Demetrius Johnson. His name is Chanko, but it sounded like John Pork because of the accent here. And this is my favorite guy coming out of the Dana White Contender Series. Because Magomed Zainukov is an absolute monster. The guy throws just to back you up, to make you break. The volume Zainukov throws with is absolutely phenomenal. I think his Dana White Contender Series was like 200 strikes. This guy's striking is some of the cleanest striking you could ever imagine coming out of Dagestan here. You may look at it and be like, in terms of Islam, he's a fucking no-hugger. That's not true. This guy's Muay Thai is actually insane. He is a two-time Muay Thai champion. He is a striking coach for Islam Makhachev. This guy is a real problem in the 155 division that you're going to hear the name more of in Magomed Zainukov. He is my number one prospect for a reason. He's got great takedown defense, but the striking dexterity of Magomed Zainukov here is going to be a problem because his shots come from anywhere. He's got nasty kicks. He's got beautiful elbows and straight strikes down the pipe here. He is going to run through Damian Rebecki here, also making his debut. I haven't heard a lot about this guy, to be honest. Did some tape study on him. He looks pretty good, actually, so I'm kind of surprised the UFC would give Zainukov a pretty decent guy for a debut. I think he could have built up Damian Rizabecki in this matchup here, but they fed him to the wolves here in Magomed Zainukov. Rebecki has decent hands. Will come forward, will bring the fight to you, but he lacks the defensive soundness that you need in this matchup, especially against a surgical striker like Zainukov. This guy's going to hit Rebecki at will with whatever he wants whatsoever. If Damian tries to shoot, it's going to get stuffed. And Zainukov's going to tee off on this guy on the feet. Give me Magomed Zainukov by KO or decision in this matchup. Next fight, we got Islam Dulatov versus Wellington Turman. Turman coming off a 3-year layoff, which is like, what the fuck? And to be honest, guys, I don't know what the UFC is doing here. Islam Dulatov was also on my Dana White Contender Series list 2 years ago. This guy was a top 5 candidate 2 years ago. Another very, very impressive guy to watch out for here. He throws with absolutely just nasty intent. If you go watch the highlights of Islam Dulatov, it is taking guys' heads off, but he also has a good submission game. Now, I do believe the submission game will play a factor later on in his UFC career, but not in this fight because Wellington Turman is a jiu-jitsu nerd. Do not go on the ground with Wellington Turman. That's all he has. The jiu-jitsu nerdery bullshit. Islam Dulatov is going to knock this guy out in the first round. The hands are just leaps and bounds a difference between these two fighters here. Dulatov is going to throw a nasty hook or an uppercut. It's going to catch Weidman Turman and put him out. Next fight, we have another banger of the night. It's Steve Erceg versus Ramazan Temirov. Steve Erceg, we all know who this guy was. A good fighter. He's got decent takedowns, decent striking as well. a nice guy to watch, to be honest. I'm a fan of Steve Erceg. I've heard a lot of hate on Steve Erceg recently, and I don't like it. I think Steve Erceg's entertaining. He tries to be entertaining. The guy's not great on the mic, I understand, but he's got good fight skills, in my opinion. Here, like I said, decent grappling and decent striking, and he's fighting Ramazan Temirov here, a guy who got popped for PEDs. He's off PEDs now, so you do wonder how that looks. Like I said last week, guys, if you watched the video, Alvin Hines is now off PEDs. I picked him there. He came out into that octagon looking like a fat piece of shit. And I was like, fuck, I'm cooked. And he got knocked out in the first round. But Ramazan Temirov is different because it wasn't actual, like, PEDs to make you jacked and this, that. He had, like, a heart problem or something, and he was taking it for that. He wasn't actually cheating here. Ramazan Temirov is the better striker in this matchup, and you may go, what the fuck? Guy named Ov is better than someone else at striking? Yes. Temirov is a short, stocky guy. He runs forward, he will get in your face, and he will unload the clip when you are against the fence. Ramazan Temirov is an absolute monster when it gets there, and he's got good takedowns and pressure and cardio as well. I like this guy a lot in the 125 division. He's a dark horse coming up the rankings here. I'm going to take the underdog in Ramazan Temirov. I think he's the better striker, and I think the grappling cancels each other out. And I like Temirov here as the underdog. Last fight of the night, we have Magomed Big Ank Ankalaev against Bogdan Guskov. Bogdan Guskov taking this fight on short notice was supposed to be Khalil Roundtree, but he dropped out of the fight because he's a pussy and he knew he'd get finished. I don't like Khalil Roundtree. I fucking hate that guy. I think he's a pussy. I think he's not that good. But anyways, we'll talk about the two guys in the fight. Magomed Ankalaev is boring, to be honest, guys. He only has wins over with finishes over lesser competition. Now, I'm not saying Bogdan Guskov is lesser competition. I think this guy's pretty good, to be honest, Bogdan Guskov. But he lacks defensive things that you need fighting Big Ank here. Bogdan Guskov, he does get tired here, which makes me a little bit nervous because I don't know if this guy's going to be like a one rounder bust. Is he going to come out here? He took it on short notice and be like, fuck this. I can't go 5 rounds. I'm coming out there. I'm going to try and take your head off in the first or second round. I don't know if Bogdan Guskov is going to do that. I really don't. But I know Magomed Ankalaev likes to slow the pace down in fights. He likes to pick his shots against opponents, and he hates the pressure coming at him here. And I think Bogdan Guskov only has 1 or 2 rounds of pressure and cardio in this matchup, especially on short notice. I think Big Ank is only lost to the best, apart from Paul Craig. He lost to Alex Pereira. Pereira just said, fuck this. I'm coming forward. I'm going to swing for your head. He did that. He took out Magomed Ankalaev. But Ankalaev against anybody else in this division wipes people. Maybe not Alberg, but that's actually a really good matchup, hopefully to come next year. Magomed Ankalaev is the better striker here. He is the better wrestler as well. He is better everywhere than Bogdan Guskov. But Guskov hits hard. If I give one thing to Guskov, it's the power edge. He hits hard. He's got nasty hooks, which you got to watch out for. I think Magomed's going to evade properly here. I think he gets a finish in the 3rd or 4th round, in my opinion, after Guskov's cardio goes to shit. I'm taking Magomed Ankalaev by KO or submission in round 3 or 4. Guys, that is the full card breakdown. I hope you enjoyed. Lots of good guys coming up the ranks here, trying to make their debuts, trying to make a name for themselves. We have Chanko Zainukov coming in as the number 1 prospect on my Dana White Contender Series list here. We really hope he wins because that spot is not given lightly here. A lot of time looking at fighters and seeing who I believe can really become something special in the UFC. And Magomed Zainukov was my pick last season. So we hope he gets the job done, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please like and comment. The algorithm works going to come up every time you go on YouTube if you like and comment. So that's the fight, guys. That's the card. We broke it down. Should be a nice one. And I'll see you guys in the hammer of the week. Peace.